Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. Whilst it would be great to talk about transfers, talk about the board, talk about Brendan Rodgers, talk about the fact that Matt O'Reilly's gone to Juventus, talk about Johnny Hayes, talking about Greg Taylor getting the band back together with the grumpy Greek. But none of that matters because it is all about Celtic Falkirk in the Premier Sports Cup this weekend. Yes, we need to win this game if we've got any chance of winning the treble this year, if we've got any ambitions of winning the treble. And I think that we will win the treble, and I still think that we'll win the treble, and the manager will walk with his head held high at the end of the season. Just a hunch. There's nothing more than a hunch. But anyway, it is all about the players that the manager should play today. And I think that he should make lots of changes to the squad. And one of them, will it shock you or will it not shock you? More to the point. Let's look at the squad that we have at the current moment. We haven't brought in any new players this week, even though today's the deadline for that Champions League game that we're not going to talk about today. The keepers that we have is Kasper Schmeichel, Sinisalo and Ross Duhan. When you look at the situation for the defenders, it looks a little bit better, but there is maybe one defender that's in the numbers here that isn't really thinking about being here, really. But you do have Alistair Johnson, Jemiah Simpson-Posey, Liam Scales, Austin Trusty, who may be on the move this summer. We don't know yet. Cameron Carter-Vickers, Hateo Inamura, Tony Ralston, Stephen Welsh, who is expected to leave this summer also, and then Kieran Tierney. Now, with that being said, who do you play in the back four? In the midfield, we've got Luke McCowan, Arne Engels, Paolo Bernardo, Rio Hitate, who's on fire just now at the beginning of the season, and Callum McGregor and James Forrest is all classed as the Celtic midfielders. The forwards, Jota is out injured, so he won't see the Premier Sports Cup at all. He won't even be here for the final if we get to the final. Something to think about, Celtic fans. Benji and Adam Ida, Yang, Shin Yamada, Callum Osmond has been demoted to the B team. I can't see him getting anywhere near the first team for the foreseeable future. Marco Tilio, Johnny Kenny and Daisen Maida. Now, let's go back to the back line and the goalkeeper. I think that Sinisalo should be the keeper that starts the game. I think that he proved in the summer and he proved towards the end of last season that he's a fantastic keeper. Personally, I think that his reaction times are slightly a bit quicker than Kasper Schmeichel. I don't want to take anything away from Kasper. This is a cup game. We need rotation, and it's as simple as that. And I think that Sinisalo should be given the cup run. If Brendan Rodgers, he did try it last season and it didn't work out too well against Falkirk. Let's hope history doesn't repeat itself and we have an absolute nightmare the first half. But with Sinisalo in goals, I think that we're in safe hands going forward. Tell me your thoughts in the comments on this one. So I think Sinisalo should be in goals. I think Ross Duhan should be on the bench for this one. He's been brought in as potential number 2 in the future when Kasper retires after this season. But I think that there's no need to risk Kasper Schmeichel. There's no need. Just give Sinisalo the cup run. Celtic managers have done it in the past. Just let him go out there, give him that confidence to know that when he steps into the number 1 position next year, we all know we're in a safe pair of hands. I think his distribution from the back is a little bit quicker than what Kasper Schmeichel does. He tends not to want to stick it out to the sides as much as what Kasper has been told to do by Brendan. And I think that Sinisalo, he's a good old-fashioned, he's young, enthusiastic. He wants to get the game going quick. He doesn't want to put himself under pressure by putting the ball out to Cameron Carter-Vickers on this side and Liam Scales on that side. He just doesn't want to do it. He's like, get the ball off the pitch. You go and score. I'll save goals. You go and play. And that's what I like about him. And I think he should be given the starting berth. Tell me what you think in the comments. Now, this is where it gets difficult. Because normally we'd go into a game like this and you'd be thinking Alistair Johnson, you'd be thinking Liam Scales, Trusty, and Kieran Tierney. Now, does an Amura come into the frame for this one? It's going to be a bit of a riot of a game. Do you chance it with Inamura and just put Kieran Tierney on the bench. We have been playing with Liam Scales, who's been going out to that left back position. It shows you that Brendan Rodgers still wants a left back in that is of a better quality. And Amura wasn't brought in to be a starter this season. And it shows you let's not talk about the transfer window today. Let's keep it as joyous as possible. But then, so what do we do? Do we bring in Amura for this game just to start him? But then it really mucks the bench up, doesn't it? Tony Ralston, he should get a start all day long. He should be able to do it against Falkirk. The Bricky, he'll just go. He should be able to do it. Rest Alistair Johnston up. Rest Kieran Tierney up. If they're needed in the second half, bring them on in the 60-odd minute. But I think that by that time, it will be the midfield that will be changed. Then it comes to the central pairing. Do we trust Austin Trusty with it? Do we trust Trusty beside Jamaa? A pairing that, let's face it, or do we just go, do you know what, we can't risk it for a biscuit, can we? We need to go with Cameron Carter-Vickers and Liam Scales. Or do we swap up Trusty just to give him that little bit of game time to show potential buyers of anyone that wants to pay £6 million for him that he's still there and he's a not bad, decent player, and if you really want to pay £6 million, come on in, as they say. Or do you give Jamaa Simpson-Pusey his first start? I think that Brendan Rodgers will be thinking, I need to see this guy in competitive action. It's a cup game. Do you put him under that pressure? I would say yes, because you need to see how good he is. You need to throw him in at the lion's den, as they say. There's no use sort of teasing them in 15 minutes, 20 minutes at the end of a league game. Throw him in at the lion's den. Put him in beside Cameron Carter-Vickers. The week before a Champions League game. Cameron Carter-Vickers. Touch wood somewhere. Touch wood. We know what he's like when it comes to the Champions League games, but do you even think about playing Cameron Carter-Vickers, or do you wrap him in cotton wool to make sure that he's okay for that flight next week? Do you know what? Do you know what it reminds me of? Cameron Carter-Vickers is our very own B.A. Baracus. He hated flying. And maybe that's what Cameron Carter-Vickers is like. And I've got to say it. Brendan Rodgers is Murdoch. Brendan Rodgers is Murdoch, and we've got our very own B.A. Baracus and Cameron Carter-Vickers, who hates flying. And that's why he doesn't go to the Champions League games. I'm only joking. It's a Thursday morning. Come on, lighten up. We need to have some hilarity into the situation at Celtic, because if we don't, we just get a bit bored and depressed. Anyway, who do we play at the back? I'm going to go with Jamaa Simpson, and I'm going to go with Cameron Carter-Vickers to give us that bit of stability at the back. I'm then going to change it up. I'm going to go with Tony Ralston, and I'm going to go with Inamura. I don't think that he is first choice backup. I don't think that he's really what Brendan Rodgers sees as going forward, but we need or do we go with Scales just to put Scales out there? And if we do go with Scales, what does that say to the board? What does it say to Inamura? It proves to me that he wasn't brought in as the first choice to fit into this team, but it is what it is. I think it's a toss a coin with that one. I think Inamura might get the starting position, but we'll wait and see what Brendan Rodgers does. On the bench, you're obviously going to have Kieran Tierney and Alistair Johnston just in case, and maybe even Trusty on the bench also. When it comes to the midfield, wholesale changes. Bring in Arnie Engels, bring in Paulo Bernardo, bring in Luke McCowan. If they can't see this game through, well, £11 million Arnie Engels, £6 million Paulo Bernardo, £1 million bargain in Luke McCowan, who will run the show tomorrow evening. Ahead of myself, it's only Thursday morning, and I think that those three should be able to dominate that game and give Brendan Rodgers something else to think about. Give Callum McGregor a bit of a rest, give Rio Hatate a bit of a rest, and say to these guys, right, this is the cup run, you've got the cup, you go with it. It's still a formidable midfield, whether you like it or not, and we all know that Brendan Rodgers is still maybe trying to bring in another holding midfield player, a type of midfield player, but I think that will be the three he goes with. Benji will be stuck on the bench. I think James Forrest will be stuck on the bench also for this game. So who do we play up front? Do you play Yang? Do you play Marco Tilio? No, because he's on one way and that's out the door. Do you play Shin Yamada in the cup? Do we give him a starting berth to see how good he is? Because let's face it, misfiring Adam Ida, he's a number one striker by default. I'm not saying that he is a number one striker. He's number two at best. But we can only go with the players that we have, unfortunately. And I think that it's a difficult decision for any manager to make, and especially in a game like this. But I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that Brendan Rodgers will start Shin Yamada in this game against Falkirk. Just to see, it's at Celtic Park, it's on a Friday night, you've got all the motivation that you need, you're going to have a decent amount of fans behind us. I'm going to go with Shin Yamada up front, just to see what he's like, with Adam Ida benched, ready to come on in the second half. He will come on in the second half, there's no disputing that. But then who do you play on the wings? Do you chance it and not play Dyson Maeda? When you look at it, we've really only got Yang. And Benji's meant to be a winger, but he's not going to be played as a winger. Or do you play Shin Yamada on the wing and Johnny Kenny through the middle? Johnny Kenny needs some game time, but then again, maybe he's been wrapped up in cotton wool because he's going to get sent out on loan once we get another striker in. There's all these permutations. It's a hard one with the front three. I think that Johnny Kenny will get the starting berth over Shin Yamada, only because Brendan Rodgers knows what he can do. And he'll have that little bit of a physicality that's a bit similar to Adam Ida, and Shin Yamada, he'll come on in the second half around about the 65th minute just to give him that game time. We'll start bringing him in more and more each game. So that's Johnny Kenny. He's going to get the starting berth for me. Who do we play on the wing though? It has to be Yang, hasn't it? I mean, it shows you what we're really missing in the forward department when it comes to backup, because we're going to have to go with Shin Yamada and we're going to have to go with Dyson Maeda. Now let's leave transfer talk and speculation out of it. It shows you how weak that we are at the current moment, and we can't make the changes that ultimately you would maybe want to make in a game like this. Brendan Rodgers is going to have a hard decision to make, but that's my team done and dusted. Make sure you join me for the live 8 PM Celtic part time tonight, where I'll give you my score prediction for this game. Anyway, that's my team. Tell me your team in the comment section for the Celtic versus Falkirk Premier Sports Cup on a Friday night. Mental, isn't it? Anyway, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.